Hey everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to be working with the Holly Jolly collection from Simple Stories. We are going to have coordinating cardstock, so we have 2 sheets of the green and 2 sheets of the red cardstock, along with the chipboard stickers, the bits and pieces die cuts, the journaling bits and pieces die cuts, and then the enamel dots. The 12 by 12 collection kit includes 12 sheets of pattern paper, along with this 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And we are going to be using 6 pattern papers today. So we're going to be using 2 accent papers and 4 background papers. We're going to be using Cutting Guide A today. And we are going to be saving the journaling card pieces and cutting them up to use on our pages. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the paper planner page for our Cutting Guide A. So I always print out extra copies of the planner pages, that way I can fill them in every time I do a new collection. And so for our 2 accent papers, we need one of them to be double-sided, because on layout number 4, we actually use the back side of that same piece of paper. So that's just something to note for the accent papers. Now here I'm taking out all of our journaling cards. I'm checking the back to make sure that it's not a paper that we really want to use, and we're going to cut those up a little bit later. So now I'm just looking over the pages I have left, and as you guys know, for my accent paper, my one accent paper, I always love to have a stripe or a plaid paper, something that really stands out against all the rest of the background, or against the rest of the pattern papers. So I'm going to go ahead and use, I think, this plaid one. I like that it incorporates that nice burgundy kind of red color. But what I love about it even more is that the back side of it is also very usable if I need it. Okay, the other pattern paper is a little bit more, it's directional, so it can be upside down or it can be sideways, and that's a little bit harder to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the plaid paper as my accent paper. Okay. Okay, so I'm put that stripe paper back, but I don't really think we're gonna end up using it, just because I think it'll compete a little bit too much with that plaid paper. So it's kind of one of those situations that I think is like an either or, not a both kind of a situation with the plaid and the stripes. I really do like this paper as well. To me, it really is a different, because it's like a lighter colored background with the images on top. I feel like it makes it a little bit different than the rest of the papers that are left. And I didn't want to use that flower paper as an accent, because to me it's not enough about Christmas. So I went ahead and used that as a background paper, and then I used this green dot paper also as a background paper. Okay, so I love this paper. Like, I love the floral print on this paper, but it doesn't really seem like Christmas to me to be able to use it as an accent paper. And then this red snowflake paper here is another background paper. It's a very plain background. Other pieces are going to stand out nicely on it. And then I didn't like that other gingerbread cookie paper. So now here I need one more accent paper and one more background paper. Now I love this floral print. Actually, I would probably use it if it wasn't for like a Christmassy kind of a collection. I just didn't think it said anything about Christmas enough to use it as another accent paper, because the other accent paper is going to be used on a lot more pages. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use that floral print as my final background paper, and then I'm going to use this paper here as my second accent paper. And as you notice, the background of this accent paper here with the reindeer and the scooter with the tree on it and the Santa, is that the back side of it is a very contrasting pattern. So on layout number 4, we're going to be using this paper twice, so where the back side of it and the front side of it are going to be used together. we have cutting diagrams in my tutorial videos, and I just kind of want to let you know how to read them. So there's the number in top in inches, and that's going to be the size that we're going to cut that cut piece into. And there's a number below it in a circle. So a lot of the times we're making 4 pages or 6 pages when we're using these cutting diagrams, and all these cut pieces can sort of get very disorganized. So that number inside of the circle there represents a pile that you're going to put that cut piece into. So for a 4-page tutorial, we're going to make 4 piles, and for a 6-page tutorial, we're going to make 6 piles. So the numbers are going to be either 1 through 4 or 1 through 6. So page 1 is going to have all the cut pieces that have a circle with the number 1 inside, and so on for the 4 or 6 pages. So now we're going to go ahead and take all pieces of our cardstock, and we are going to cut 1 inch in, 1 inch from the top, and 1 inch from the bottom. And we're going to make a straight line on all 4 sides of each of these pieces of cardstock. What we're basically doing is cutting a 10 by 10 inch square out of the center of this piece of cardstock. The border is going to be put into our pile, and the center, the 10 by 10 inch center, is going to be put to the side, and we're going to be cutting it with another cutting diagram as soon as we're done cutting out all of these squares. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the backgrounds for our pages. So we are going to be cutting the barcode strip off along with 1/2 inch, and then 1/2 inch on the other side. So we're going to be making an 11.5 inch by 11.5 inch square for all of our background papers. Okay, so off screen I pre-cut all of my journaling cards. So there is 4x4, 3x4, and 4x6 size journaling cards. And we will be using them today on the pages. And then here I'm opening up all of our bits and pieces. So on the right side of the screen where it says Mary and it says cheer and holly and all those trees, that is the regular bits and pieces. On the left side of the screen where it says jingle, cheer, and Noel, that is the journaling bits and pieces. So I bought both of the bits and pieces embellishments along with the enamel dots, the chipboard, and then of course it comes with the 12x12 stickers. There is a lot of embellishments. I kind of forgot how many die cut pieces came with the Simple Stories bits and pieces packs, and yeah, so it's a little bit overwhelming starting your first page because you kind of have everything out in front of you and you don't really know where to start. So here I took this 4x6 journaling card and I trimmed down like 1/8 of an inch on each side so that I could mat it with the back side of another 4x6 journaling card. And I decided that I wanted to incorporate this 4x6 sort of as my titling, and I liked that it had that dark background, similar to the background paper, and I liked that it had Merry Christmas along with the flowers in the 4x6 journaling card, because I wasn't really sure how I was going to incorporate all of the flowers that are in this collection as embellishments on a Christmas page. But I love that that 4x6 journaling card incorporated both of them. Okay, so I decided to really go bold with the flowers on this page. The background obviously has the flowers, but my challenge, I guess, was there was lots of flowers to work with, and clusters, pre-made flower clusters. But how am I supposed to incorporate Christmas into that? So I really loved putting this reindeer that has a wreath around his neck, incorporating that into the one cluster at the bottom. And then there's also that circle that says December 25th on it. And I put in a die cut candy cane there as well on the top. And I popped up this present for this other flower cluster that's in between the two photos. And that's kind of what I did with this page. I tried to incorporate like a die cut flower along with a chipboard flower beside it. That way it gave a different texture on the page, and they didn't blend too much in together. This page looks a lot better in real life than it does looking face down on screen. But if you don't want this to be a Christmas page, you could easily have it as like a winter floral type of page. What I would do is that patterned paper that has like the Santas and the presents on it, I would just replace that. I would just flip that over, and then you have like that green patterned paper on the back side that just has more like floral type stuff on it. So you could definitely make this page not about Christmas, even though it's kind of more of a Christmassy type of collection kit. Okay, so for this page here, we have a big area at the bottom that I needed to fill. So I wanted to incorporate a theme that would require maybe a journaling element. So for me, I just decided to pull out the vibes of like Christmas music. So that's where I use the titling, like fa la 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 and cheer. The houses, I liked that they were a very linear element in the embellishment options, and so I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate that. It was on the sticker sheet and it was all attached as one piece, but what I did is I separated it, and I'm putting half of it flat and the other half of it I'm popping it up, just so that there's a little bit of difference in height, and that way I can like put one higher than the other, so it looks like there's the illusion of depth to the scene, I guess. And so because I sort of went with like a music theme when it came to the titling, what I decided to do is incorporate a journaling card near the bottom of this layout. And even though we don't like, my family, we don't really do any kind of caroling, what I wanted to do is incorporate on this journaling card, like oftentimes we have people over for Christmas, so I will make like a playlist to put on the TV, and we have like that as background music. And so I think what I want to do is incorporate like a top 10 or a top 5 favorite Christmas songs that we had that year. So we can maybe look back in like 10 or 15 years, and it'll be interesting to see some of the artists and some of the songs that we had chosen for the playlist this year. So just kind of like a reference back to like a favorites of this year. So, but if you are caroling, it'd be kind of cool to incorporate maybe the song list that you have, or the lyrics to your favorite song that you guys sing together, or something like that. So this page, the theme was definitely like more music, and I guess if you're caroling and going like house to house, which I'm not sure how many people really do that anymore, but the houses could totally fit in for that as well. I just kind of feel like this layout had like a homey vibe to it, and I like to incorporate the trees. What I did is I like to put a shorter one with a taller one, and don't put them in a straight line, kind of put one higher than the other. It just makes it look like one's sort of further back and one's more forward on the page, and just gives your eye a different place to look. And then I incorporated some of the trees down at the bottom of that journaling card as well. I didn't think that I needed that whole journaling card for space, so I decided that I wanted to put kind of like another word or another like area at the bottom that said something. So I decided to go ahead, and on the sticker sheet there is a sticker that says "'Tis the Season," so I'm going to go ahead and put that onto the bottom corner of my journaling card where that tree is kind of all by itself. It'll make the tree look like it's sort of with something. And, at the top of that 4x6 photo, I felt like I needed something there, so I just put that little tab there, and then I also put this star that says "Good Cheer," and I popped up that star. Okay, and then I also use the enamel dots just to kind of frame some of the elements that didn't have as many things around it, just to kind of finish them off and dress them up a little bit. Okay, so for our third page here, definitely ended up being a plainer page. You have only the one pattern paper, and then you have the 2 sheets of cardstock. So I guess on this page it's pretty important that your cardstock looks well together. And then I guess what made it seem even more obvious is that the background is a lot less busy than the other pages. Okay, so I incorporated 2 3x4 journaling cards here, one that says "'Tis the Season" and the other one that says "Nice Until Proven Naughty." And I kind of wanted this to be a Santa Claus themed page. So I tried to incorporate some elements that were in reference to Santa. So I put this tree here that says "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree." Not necessarily a Santa theme, but I liked that it filled that area right beside that 3x4 photo. And it was kind of a generic Christmas type of embellishment, so I figured it worked. And then there's 2 stickers here that say "Hey Santa," and they are separate, which was nice. So I popped up that "Hey" part of the "Hey Santa" titling, and I kind of made it so that it went around the Santa's head, around his toque there. And then the Santa, I layered that on top of this little journaling die cut that says holiday traditions. And the Santa, I just popped up the top of the S and the top of the T, and then I stuck the rest of that Santa word directly to the page. Okay, and underneath the Santa word, there's a little banner that says, "Here comes Santa Claus." And what I decided to do at the bottom of this "'Tis the Season" area is put a little tag there, and then I put this little stocking beside it. And then I layered this Hello December titling right on top of that stocking. I felt like it needed maybe a little bit more there at the bottom underneath that Hello December. So I ended up finding just like a plainer circle and then layering on top of it a present sticker and a strip titling that says "Meeting the Big Guy." Okay. And what I like to do sometimes with my clusters too is just make sure that everything is sort of, one thing is layering another thing, and then you know, always having sort of like a flatter foundation. Like here I could easily put that that Christmas, that gift box just on that green cardstock, but it wouldn't have looked as good without that circle behind it. So you always want to have sort of an area to anchor your embellishments to make them look like they work together nicely and they're not just floating in the middle of nowhere. And then I love this Dear Santa banner, so I decided to stick it right underneath that Hello December titling. Okay, and then finishing off everything with enamel dots again, trying to make them in a triangle formation around it within the cluster itself. Especially if an element looks like it's off by itself, sometimes the enamel dots will help draw your eye back to the center of the enamel dots, which would be where your embellishment would be. Okay, so for a final layout here, this is going to be another kind of flowery page, but I wanted to incorporate winter into it again so that it wasn't just flowers. The background page almost looks like a spring, the background paper almost looks spring related. So definitely need to incorporate some winter type elements just to bring this back to a winter page. So I loved this chipboard titling that says "Believe," and I wanted to incorporate it in an area where it would really stand out. So I love that spot for it. And I decided to sort of layer behind it with the flowers under the B, and then on top of the V and E at the end of the word, I decided to adhere another flower element that's sort of subtle because it blends into the background, but it just frames that whole "Believe" word in. And then I took like a die cut tree that's a paler color that'll stand out against that plaid background paper, and I layered it behind that "Believe" word just so that the "Believe" word looks like it brings it up to the surface a little bit more. And then there's that "Merry and Bright." I popped up this die cut piece that says "Merry and Bright" and layered it in front of another flower sticker. And then that "Merry Christmas," I have that chipboard "Merry Christmas" at the top of that 3x4 photo area, and I just clustered it with that snowman and another flower. Okay, and at the bottom here I felt like I needed another word just because we sort of have a triangle formation on our page with the "Merry Christmas," the "Believe" word, and then now we'll have this word "Noel" that I popped up and framed in front of that Santa. Okay, and again I did the same sort of thing with that deer, as I put that deer behind another flower, chipboard flower area. And so we kind of have our 3 cluster areas on this page, and I'm just going to kind of finish it off here with some strip journaling that says "'Tis the Season" and "Holiday Traditions." So this will be my last video of 2019. My kids are done school as of Friday this week for the Christmas holidays. So I would like to say Merry Christmas, to everyone. I hope you have a fantastic holidays. I hope you are surrounded by love and happiness and awesome friends and family. And we will see you in the new year. And hopefully 2020 is going to be an amazing year for everybody. So we will see you when we get back from holidays. Thank you so much for watching.